Okay. Well, I guess we're live now. Hopefully it doesn't crash and burn. So I just wanted to welcome everybody that's showing up here today. And I'll get started just so that to respect everybody's time. And I've written to quite a few of you in regards to doing this training. And I really wanted to let you know that this training is pretty life-changing. It's life-changing for the people that take the practices and use them in their lives. And so what we're going to be going over today is what this work is really all about, especially when we're talking about sacred intimacy practices and practices where you're teaching the person on how to do these things for themselves. What's the most amazing thing about this work is that you get to practice a lot. It requires that you have really great clear energy. It also requires that you take care of yourself physically and knowing the ways to keep your energy nice and clean when you work with people. So this training, I would say I've been doing this training for about 5 years. And each time I train a group of people, the training gets better and better. And so this is a culmination of all the last 5 years of work that I've done when I've trained people, and also the culmination of all the sessions I've done with people one-on-one. And I just want to talk to you about why should I do this training? There's lots of great teachers out there. There are some amazing people. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of people here in Vancouver. And oh, there we go. I got a hello. Yay. Good to see you. Hi, Amit. Amit. So this work is, I got all excited. So what I was saying is that there are a lot of great teachers out there. And unfortunately, there are not a lot of great teachers here in Canada, in Vancouver. There's some, but not the amount that we actually have in the United States and in Europe. This work is really personalized, so it's important to pick a teacher that you feel connected to, that you feel like you could learn something from them, that you have a good energy vibe between you and them. And that's an important part of doing this work. It's like we need to feel safe and comfortable. I've been honing my skills for quite a few years. I've done lots of classical yoga training and Tantra yoga training, but body work and energy work have been my two greatest influencers, because everything is energy. When we work with Tantra, we don't just work with the physical body, we also work with the energetic body. And how do you take those two and work with them together? And then how do you mesh sexuality with the physical and the emotions? And so there's a lot of nuances when it comes to do this work. So even though the training is 3 days, the practice is practice with people and work with people, but at least you have a beginning. And I think that's really the key. It's basically a full-on practice that you can do with men and women. And also it is a practice that I take people through and they go through themselves during the training. So we do the Tantra Yoga pranayams and breaths. We learn about how to unlock the chakras and open up energy. And then it allows us to just relax. Thank you very much, Amit. Yeah, it's a little hard to relax. It's my I think it's my second first Facebook Live, and making sure all the technology works and things like that. So thank you. Thanks for that. Yeah, so I'm really excited about doing this work and teaching people. I'll tell you a story. So the story really is about why I started doing this work. I think that I grew up in an environment that, we looked at sexuality in a way that there was a lot of shame and guilt in regards to it. And my body was pretty shut down. I didn't really feel a lot of pleasure in it. And that affected a lot of other areas of my life. When I started searching, when everything kind of started going wrong, I guess, or there was a death in my life, and this rebirth that I experienced, I would say now, it's about 15 years ago. And in reality, I needed to be reborn. I needed to change my life. And I didn't really know how to do it. I had my yoga practice, and that was all great. But what about my personal relationship with myself and my body? And I wasn't very embodied. So this is kind of what started me on this pathway. And it's a huge thing, learning how to be in your body and feeling and loving it, because that affects how our relationships look. If we're disconnected and unhappy with ourselves, our bodies, we don't know how to feel pleasure or give another person pleasure as well, then it's more difficult to have great relationships. They become more superficial. And the beginning, all relationships are great. There's a lot of polarity, and it's really hot, and it's great because everything is new. But what do we do when we've been married for 20 years, or we've been in a relationship and there's a change, there's a baby being born, there's some stress, there's illness. Well, all these things affect what a relationship looks like. So how do we make them better? And so this is what this work is about. How do we make our relationships, our intimate relationships, our sensuality, our sexuality better in our lives? So working with people in this manner is powerful. It can be life-changing for you and them. It's much needed in our world. And so this is what brought me to do this work. So now let's get into a little bit about what this training might look like. So it's 3 full days where we go through the 4 basic pillars that we'll use in our training and the way we work with people. So I make sure that you get a good grounding in yoga and Tantra yoga so that you can at least explain to people. We're taking a modern approach. We're not just using classical Tantra in these teachings, but we're actually using Taoist practices, tantric practices, yoga, energy work practices, and modern sexuality, where we're working with, I'm a sexological body worker, and so a lot of the working with the bodies to make sure that people are connected to their bodies. So very simple way of working with people. It requires that we have really fine-tuned intuition skills, and we learn how to communicate effectively with people that are with us. So in the training, we make sure that you experience everything you're going to do to the person that you're working with. Everything that you could possibly imagine is if you don't experience it yourself, it's pretty hard to teach it. So the idea of this training is, learn by doing and feeling and receiving, and sometimes teaching to your classmates. So it's a small group of people. We do eight participants, and there's some places left. I've been marketing this course for about a month or so, and so we already have a nice contingency of wonderful people who are taking this training. And then there'll be some more people signing up, and I think having a nice male-female ratio is always really useful. So let's see. Does anyone have any questions? If you have questions, please type them into the comments, and I'll see them and I can answer them. So let's see. So when is the training? it's happening in March 23rd to the 25th. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we are taking very full days. So the days will probably be 9 to 6 each day, and they're taking place in my studio in North Vancouver. Now, what I'll be doing is, if anybody wants to have a discussion about taking the training, I would suggest that you write to me through my website and send me an email and talk to me, and then we can have a little chat. I think that is the best way. That makes sure that it's a good mix of people, and making sure that you're ready and this is really the next step for you. It's really important, because a lot of things will come up. You'll do the training and all your emotions and insecurities, they kind of start surfacing. We want to kind of, really, there are blocks in our bodies, blocks to bliss, and these things will start popping up. Hi, Jessica. Great to see you. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, so, I've had, Jessica took the training with me, I guess, it's almost 2 years ago, well, a year and a half ago, and she's one of the practitioners that has learned so much. And of course, this is how it works. When you start learning and searching, you want to learn everything, because there's just so much to learn. And when you learn that you can change people's lives so greatly, it's huge. It's like, for me, it's a calling. So it isn't, when I first started this work, I didn't really realize the potentiality of how far it could go. I mean, I wanted to be a coach, and I realized that just coaching to me didn't have enough soul. I wanted to work on the more soul level of who we were, instead of just the physical. Doing yoga the way yoga's taught in the West now is kind of sad compared to really what it's all about. We only get a small part of it. And just body work, just RMT work, even though they do have a great place, there's some amazing RMTs, but then what if we take it a little deeper and go a little further with this type of work? So it's blending, the spirit and the body together, and integrating it with the heart. A lot of this work is about heart opening and learning how to fully express ourselves and give who we are to the world. My question, is a program for coaches? No, it could be. If you were a coach and you wanted to do this training, it would be amazing, because it would give you more insight into people's lives in general, because our sexuality is a big part of who we are. But if you were a body worker, a yoga teacher, an energy worker, lots of different people have taken this training, and why do people take it? Well, some people want to do this work in a professional capacity, and it's a way to get started. But people also have taken this training because they have their own things that they want to get rid of. We're always drawn to the things where we need to do the work. It's like, why does our soul call us to do this? It's because we want to learn about ourselves as well. And then once we learn about that part of who we are, then we can share that with the world. Jessica says, it's an amazing training. My personal and spiritual professional life have grown exponentially. Yeah, so I mean, here, let's see if I can do this. Yeah, so yeah, we it's like that spark, sometimes it just takes a spark, and then once it's ignited, we can move forward and create change and change our lives, and realize that we're not limited. We've limited ourselves enough, and one of the big ways we can limit ourselves is through our sexuality and our intimate lives. And if our intimate life isn't good, then the rest of our life starts to get a little shaky ground, especially if you're in a relationship where it's failing because there isn't any more intimacy, or people get divorced. And in reality, the sexual tantric practices were created so that when people were in a relationship, that they could have a fruitful and beautiful relationship where they could benefit and raise families and create wealth in their lives so that they could have a good life and educate their children and create wonderful things. And so spirituality isn't just about being in the spirit, it's about learning how to live in our bodies on this earth, because I believe that being here can be heaven or it can be hell, and we have to decide where that is for us. So yeah. Let's see, are there any other questions? I guess, what else did I want to share? Let me see, I'll bring up some stuff here. So I guess, let's see here. Was there anything that I needed to tell you? The other wonderful thing about this program and the way I've designed it is that you have a mentor. So once you started working with me and you've done the training, you're encouraged to do practice sessions. And so during your practice sessions time, when we do them, I'm there to support you so that you can get really proficient and feel competent and feel comfortable in the work that you've done, that you're doing. And if you have questions, if you're feel like you're having difficulties, well, we want to help you so that you could actually get the most out of this training that you've done. And so you're never alone. And often people who do this training together end up becoming really great friends because they worked with each other on such a deep level. So yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I'd like to say. I guess the other thing is that yeah, I've got about 6 places left for the training, and if you're kind of on the fence and you're not sure, please get in contact with me. Please get in contact with me. Let me know kind of why or what I could do to help you understand what this training is about and if it works for you. And then from there, we can take it to the next level. So what I'd like to do is, if there are no more questions, I'd like to give you an opportunity to ask some more. And what I'll do is I'll put another Facebook Live up and do another one of these. So since this is my first one, I'm kind of like, learning. But I'd like to use this as a medium to talk about all the things that I've learned about as I do this work, and the things that, can have us have a real tantric life. So Tantra isn't just about sexuality. I know that it is a huge, in the West, it has become a big part of what Tantra is really about. But, there's something basically living a tantric life, learning how to live in the present moment, learning how to be there and notice all the miracles that are in front of us. Thanks, Jessica. So, yeah, so I'm going to cut this probably down, and I'll since there's about, some comments and stuff, but I guess, what else I like to say? I'd love to meet you. If you'd like to come and work with me, I would be honored that you would choose me as a teacher, because I feel like I've got a lot to share, and I would like to share it with you. And this is, I'm going to say goodbye, I think. So thank you so much for showing up. And if there's anything else, you have some questions, throw them down in the comments, and I'll come back again and probably do another one of these on Monday. And if there's something that you want to hear about or talk about, and create a dialogue about sacred intimacy and Tantra or Taoist practices or anything like that, please just drop them down in the comments on this page, and I would be honored to have a conversation. So thank you very much, and make this the best day ever. Blessings.